shocking statistic. More San Diego County teenagers died from heroin in 2010 than they did in the 9 years combined before that. How's that happen?
Yeah, it's definitely a scary trend, as you mentioned. Drug agents are pointing their fingers at prescription drugs, Lauren. In fact, it is the problem that has become such an epidemic. Local parents are holding the first ever town hall meeting on the subject.
He was well liked, played football, worked out, and got good grades, all the while popping pills.
He ended up having a heart attack, 2 strokes, front and back, both sides of his brain. He is now a quadriplegic. He was not thought to survive. We were planning his funeral, and between Aaron and God, he is still here. Because of that overdose, he can't speak, but he uses his hands and he understands everything fully and communicates by using 1 finger for yes and 2 fingers for no.
Aaron Rubin has been this way for almost 7 years. He was just 23 when he overdosed on Oxycontin. His life and his family's forever changed.
Unfortunately, with these pills, these opiates, they change the brain chemistry so quickly. Within 1 to 2 times, depending on your brain, you will be an addict.
The problem is so prevalent. Prescription drugs have now killed more people than car accidents, and the DEA formed its own task force specifically for the issue. Special Agent Tom Lennox.
We're extremely busy. Unfortunately, busier than what we'd like to see. They're taking Oxycontin, they're taking Roxicodone, Roxicet, Opana, even morphine, methadone pills. There's a whole host of opiate-type pills on the market out there that these kids are getting their hands on.
And in most cases, they're smoking the pills for a faster, stronger high.
Within 2 years, 3 Poway High kids died from substance abuse. Even more disturbing, prescription painkillers have become the gateway drug to heroin.
In the beginning, they don't think that, oh, I would never use heroin, but I'll try these pills because they're right here in my house. But then when the tolerance builds up and the addiction takes over, and they don't have those pills available to them, the only alternative out there is heroin.
In fact, 7 kids died in San Diego County from heroin in 2010 alone. That's according to the coroner. That's 2 more than all the heroin deaths for the previous 9 years combined.
If you knew how these drugs would affect you, would you have ever done them? 1 for yes, 2 for no.
Sherry Rubin doesn't blame herself for Aaron's overdose, but she does wish she had been more educated and knew what signs and symptoms to look for. She's now dedicated her entire life to passing along that information to other parents and students, and her son travels with her.
Young adults think they'll either party or die. And there is another consequence. You could be trapped in your own body like Aaron is. There is no distinction with this disease. The only way to arm yourself and protect your family is with knowledge.
Knowledge that will hopefully prevent another average teenager from ending up like Aaron.
And all parents and teenagers should go to this. There's a town hall meeting to talk about prescription drugs. It is happening tomorrow night in Poway. Sherry says this is not a presentation where experts are telling you about things. It is a conversation with parents and teenagers to talk to the DA agents and ask the Sheriff's Department about things and get more information about this epidemic problem. Several city leaders will also be there, and all the information, when, where, it is free, is on our website, fox5sandiego.com. Just click on the Scene on tab.
Jen, in the tease before the story, you mentioned that Tom was your high school date. Now, I know how you feel about drugs. His mom didn't know he was doing drugs. Did you?
Right. There were early signs that he was drinking more, and even his mom, Aaron's mom, admitted, you know, we saw him drinking on the weekends. He maybe was taking some muscle relaxants after football practice. But back then, no one even thought about prescription drug abuse. So from her perspective, she didn't even know what signs to look for, the sweatiness, the agitation. She just kind of chalked it up to, you know what, he's a teenager. And in reality, he had been using that whole time and tried to get help over and over, and yet the drugs were just that strong and that addictive that happened.
It's such an excellent story, and it's one of those signs of life right now. We all know someone who's lost their job or someone whose home has been foreclosed. Our family has multiple kids who've also lost their lives in the same way, and obviously you do too. So I imagine a lot of the people watching know this too. And thank you for illuminating.
Absolutely. I just hope
issue.
more parents can get out there. So Sherry's message continues, and you know, she said, we're the average family. We were well-to-do in Poway. Our kids played football. We were involved with our kids' lives, and this can happen to anyone. Like, don't bury your head in the sand about this issue.
Not just can, it is happening to a
absolutely.
lot of very normal, average people. Thanks. Well.